Hello there beautiful humans, my name is RidersDX and welcome to my channel where today we've got some pretty interesting news about the sales of Spongebob Squarepants, the Cosmic Shake. And so I will say before you get into the comment section and kind of just like roast me for trying to report on something that's potentially really negative about this game, I do want to say that I love this game. I think it's one of the best Spongebob games of all time and I'm actually pretty disappointed in this news, but I do have some theories as to what could have happened and what they can do from here. So let's go ahead and just discuss the news and just have an open dialogue about it. So as you can tell by the title, it seems like Spongebob Squarepants the Cosmic Shake might have performed below the expectations of THQ Nordic and its holding company. And so for those of you who don't know, THQ Nordic is actually owned by something called Embracer Group, which is a Swedish video game media holding company. THQ Nordic is one of a few different publishers that fall under this company, and this company puts out revenue reports every single quarter, I think, or is a month, I'm not really sure. Talking about like how they're doing in terms of income, like what games are really selling well, what games aren't, just kind of like a report towards investors to get people to go and invest more into this group so that they have more funds to make more games in the future. That's my brief understanding of it. There's definitely a lot of details I probably don't know about, but that's as far as I understand. So if you have any other additional details that might be helpful for me, then I would love to hear in the comment section below. But in this recent report that they put out this past month, they did have a small section on Spongebob Squarepants the Cosmic Shake, and this is what they said. The main revenue driver among new releases in the quarter was Spongebob Squarepants the Cosmic Shake, developed by internal studio Purple Lamp Studios and published by THQ Nordic. The game received solid review scores from critics and strong customer review scores across all platforms. The game has, however, initially performed below management expectations, but is expected to have a long tail of revenue. So that is a statement that can get us to be pretty worried, to be honest, because the fact that the game has already been announced as performing below expectations within the short time it's been out is not really great, because with Rehydrated, when it first came out, it definitely performed either at expectations or over expectations at this point from what I remember. So if I'm being totally honest, I'm not very surprised by this news at all. Like I said, I love Cosmic Shake. It's a great game and it really was a testament to how much Purple Lamp Studios paid attention to what worked in Battle for Bikini Bottom and tried to bring that over to make something brand new with the Cosmic Shake. I really think it was a great game and I'm really sad to see that this is what's coming out of it in terms of its sales reports. However, I do think the Cosmic Shake had a lot more going against it compared to Rehydrated, because I think when Rehydrated came out, or when it was announced, I think we were all kind of shocked at how much attention it got. Battle for Bikini Bottom is a very beloved game, as you all know. I mean, it's kind of the whole reason my channel is still here, to be honest. Like, that game just had so much love behind it that it really just like supported my channel so well when it was getting hyped up and released. And so it's a game that lots of people grew up with. It's kind of been known as the staple SpongeBob video game experience, and SpongeBob is a huge franchise, and so it's bound to have at least like one video game that really stands out among the crowd and really is looked at as a great treasure for all SpongeBob fans to look to. But that's a title that's not really easy to get, and Rehydrated really had the benefit of being marketed based off nostalgia. It really had the benefit of Battle for Bikini Bottom's reputation and was able to sell itself based off of that. The Cosmic Shake, however, had to start completely from scratch. Sure, you had a bunch of fans that were fans of Battle for Bikini Bottom get interested in Cosmic Shake, but not all the fans were, unfortunately. And the Cosmic Shake really had to like build its own audience to stand a chance at being successful. And I feel like it did a decent job. I mean, according to Game Sensor, we do have the sales for Spongebob Squarepants the Cosmic Shake during the first month of release, which was about 50,000 copies sold, which isn't like a big number, but at the same time, it is like a decent number and definitely results in a profit. So I'm glad to hear that. But compared to the 2 million copies that Rehydrated ended up doing within its first year, it definitely is a long cry from that success. And I just think Cosmic Shake didn't really do enough to really have its own identity in terms of marketing. It was more so marketed as like a direct spiritual successor to Battle for Bikini Bottom, which is great and all, but it didn't really have something that helped it to stand out by itself. And I think that is probably one of the big reasons why people just weren't as interested in it, because besides the fact that it's a Battle for Bikini Bottom like platformer, there really wasn't that much else that got people really excited about the game. I mean, look at Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, for instance. That game had a lot of hype behind it because it had a really interesting story going on for it, which was the fact that it was very potentially going to be a huge Smash Bros. Competitor. And that's a really, really crazy narrative to latch onto. Cosmic Shake just didn't really have that. It was more so just like, oh look, a fun SpongeBob 3D platformer is coming out. Great. It definitely was a really great adventure, and I'm really, really glad that Purple Lamp worked on it and did as great as they did with it. But it just didn't really have like that hook to it to really get people invested in it. And there wasn't anything about the platformer that really like stood out amongst like other 3D platformers. Like look at Sonic Frontiers for instance. You know, despite the fact that all the previous Sonic games really didn't do that well in terms of sales, Sonic Frontiers is going on to become the best selling 3D Sonic game of all time, and that's because it had an interesting hook to it, which was the fact that Sonic was in an open world environment, and that was a first for the Sonic franchise, and it got people excited and interested in seeing what this brand new experience was going to provide. The Cosmic Shake just didn't really have something like that to really get people to be excited about it. And so I think what THQ Nordic can really take from this is that I hope they don't give up on Spongebob games, because that's a ridiculous idea that Spongebob games can't sell. I mean, look at how successful this franchise is. Spongebob is a huge juggernaut, and if you have a key like amazing idea and put that into a game, it's gonna do so well. I think the Cosmic Shake, they just tried being really straightforward with it. They didn't really want to take a lot of risks. They just wanted to make a solid 3D platformer that was a successor to Battle for Bikini Bottom. They didn't really want to mess with the formula that much, which I can totally understand, because Battle for Bikini Bottom did so well, especially the remake in particular. Why would you want to mess with that? But now they're seeing here from Cosmic Shake that by not messing with it, it didn't get enough people interested in the game as a whole, and that is the reason why Cosmic Shake just didn't grab people. Even if it was getting good reviews and good like reception from players, it wasn't enough to get people to buy this nearly as much as they did Rehydrated. Rehydrated had nostalgia, it had that exciting factor to it that it was a licensed game being remade. Like that is just such an epic sentence. I still can't believe that game got a remake. It's really insane that that game has a legacy that it has now. But Cosmic Shake, it just didn't have a hook to it, and it's a game that I feel like would have done really well back in like 2003, 2004, around the time Battle for Bikini Bottom came out, but nowadays I just don't think it's enough to be a huge success, which is sad, because again, I think it's a great game. I think it's a really solid adventure and I love it as a SpongeBob fan, but it's not a very remarkable video game when all is said and done. So where they go from here is I think they need to just brainstorm ideas that can potentially really get people's attention. You know, some ideas I can think of. Imagine like an open world SpongeBob game where you got to like create your own character and go around Bikini Bottom and like really put yourself in the world of Bikini Bottom. That just sounds like such a cool idea and something that really has a hook to it. I mean, everyone loves the idea of living in Bikini Bottom. That could be a really cool idea, and you could throw in a bunch of platforming elements into it to make it a full-blown adventure. And I'm sure there's other ideas that you could really do with SpongeBob that'll get people really hooked onto it as well. Cosmic Shake just wasn't interesting enough, which is sad to say, because I love the game. I think it's a really great adventure, but it just doesn't have a hook to it that really would have grabbed in like casual players. If there's another thing I want to praise THQ Nordic and Purple Lamp Studios for, it's the fact that they keep updating this game. Like they just released a patch this past day, you know, adding a bunch of different features to it and fixing a bunch of glitches. And I didn't even realize this because I kind of stopped paying attention to the game, if I'm being totally real with y'all, but there's like speedrunning options in this game. Like they really are dedicated to making this a great adventure, and I just hate to see this kind of reception being given to the game, because it's definitely not the kind of success I feel like they deserve, because they made this game as solid as they could. They are listening to fans' feedback. They are really doing everything they can to make this a solid experience. And look, I just hope that this doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to make SpongeBob games in the future, because that would just be such a shame. You have a company right here that's willing to go above and beyond to make great games for this franchise. Let them, you know, kind of like mess up a little bit here and there, and let them come up with an idea that's going to rock your socks off. But yeah, like I said, it is sad to hear that the game is not really meeting the expectations, and I know they say they envision the game having long-term revenue, but unless there's like a major update coming to the game that'll get people interested in it again, I don't see how this game can keep selling for long-term revenue, because the only updates coming out right now are just like basic patches. It's nothing that's really going to get people excited to come back into the game. Like maybe some actual DLC content could do that, but I don't really see any signs of that happening anytime soon. So we'll just have to see, you know, we'll just have to see what happens. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What do y'all think about this news? What do y'all want to see in the next SpongeBob game in particular? Because I think I might make a video on ideas for the next SpongeBob game that I think THQ Nordic should pursue. So if you have any ideas, I would love to include those in the next video. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Before we end the video, I want to give a shout out to Below the Stone Official. They commented on my last video saying BFBB was my childhood. Hope to see you there. If you're confused by that comment, they were commenting about the fact that Battlefield Keybound was their childhood, and that they were hoping to see me at Too Many Games, because in my last video I announced that I was doing a panel at Too Many Games about SpongeBob games. And so if you want to find out more about that, then check out the link in the top left corner. And just yeah, I can't wait to see you all at Too Many Games if you can make it. We're gonna talk about SpongeBob games, and yeah, it's gonna be a blast. So thank you all so much. This is Riders, riding out.